Hello and welcome to another video here at Frontline Model Hobbies, and please do not adjust your TV set or your device depending on whichever you're watching this on. I have built an armour kit. I've gone over to the dark side, well, especially for this one anyway. Now please don't judge me on this one. I have painted and weathered this one to the best of my knowledge, and I've learnt a few new techniques and this, that and the other, so if you're an armour guru, go easy on me. But either way, now this one is the Rye Field Models 234/4 Spähwagen. As you can pretty much see, it is built, so you're going to get all the videos not as a one-er. There'll be about 2 days spread apart from each one. Now you're going to get 5 videos in total. The first 2 is going to be the build, the third one is going to be the interior paint, fourth exterior, and then the fifth the weathering. Now this one has been provided by Gary at Tiger Hobbies, so I want to say a big thank you to you. Now next, as you can see, you can check out his YouTube channel, Tiger Hobbies Limited. Now he's done the D-Day to VE Day, and as you can pretty much see, there's all the videos there. So again, a big thank you to you. So let's crack on with the build. Now the first part of the build, as you can see, we're going to do the lower half of the hull, and we've got all the subframe to go together, as you can see there, and it pretty much works like that. So throughout the build, I don't know all the names to all the parts, so I do apologise. And also, as you can see here, I'm showing you how to glue a few bits and bobs, but I'm not going to do it on every single part. Just assume that I've already applied glue, like when I put this drive shaft in there, as you can see there. Now also I'm putting this lower arm on, and it fits very snugly into those 2 pegs, as you can see there. Now if you want the steering to work, you're going to cut that piece off, but don't forget to actually sand it down as well, because it'll be a bit of a clicky fit. It was on mine, so I cut it off and just put that part on there. But if you want that to happen, then that's fine. This other part going on there for the lower suspension, that fits in very nicely, and as you can see, pretty much done. Now next thing to do is to work on the leaf spring. So you've got this lower part connection, which is for the lower leaf spring, putting a bit of glue on the 2 parts there. Now I put the suspension down on there and then found out that the pegs were too long, so it's a bit piss poor to be honest with you, but quick trim down, not a problem. So just make sure you do that. I did find that problem on my kit, and then when I've done that, I put it down, not a problem, glued in very nicely, very snug, and just push that part in there, shouldn't be a problem. Next thing to do is just to put this cap on there, and that is that done. And then it's time to put on C30 times 2. These are both the shafts going on there. Shaft. And then when that is done, this lower subframe box goes onto the lower hull like so. Just applied some super glue just to tack it into place, as you can see there. And then I can go around with the normal Tamiya extra thin. Just bring it in closer to my face so that I can blow it all around, as we all know. But it's probably best to do it from the inside. Yeah, I don't listen to my own thoughts, but either way, then the next thing to put on is F85, which goes on very nice, and then it's to put on all these other parts on the lower hull, as you can see there. They all fit very simply, not a problem, as you can see there. That's the front mudguards going on there, and these side fender parts going on. I don't really need to overly talk about them, they go on very nicely, not an issue, as you can see there. I've not had to stand anything down just to make it fit. It does actually fit. Next thing to do is to put this inner part. Now I've had to apply some super glue just to tack it down because it was a bit warped. Yes, there I found a warped part. Next thing to do is to put in F2 and its associated parts. A bit of glue in there, and I tap with my finger. You're going to see that quite often in this build. Now moving on to the firewall between the fighting compartment and the engine bay. Now a bit of wiggling left to right, front to back, and it goes in there snug as a bug in a rug. Not a problem with that. It does come as a problem later on, but you'll see that later. Bit of glue on there, not a problem. Now next part is J38. You've got to cut these tabs off. The reason being, it fits a lot better, as you can see there, and that's without glue. Next thing is this a door? Because if it is, that is a handle. And if it's a door, why isn't it open? But either way, moving on to the steering column and the steering wheel, which is going to come any time soon. But to be honest with you, don't follow my way of doing this, because you need to put the pedal box in first. Yes, because you'll find out that I'm going to struggle next to get this blooming thing in. But anyway, as I said, pedal box next, And here we go, time for the struggle. Now I've sped this up. This is not my usual speed. This is my, well, you could call it my panic speed. Yes, I finally get it in at the end. Ooh. Now, next thing to do is the other pedal box, and to be honest with you, yeah, when it comes to paintwork, if you can't see the back of it, then there's no problem. Next thing to do is these boxes, as you can see there, self-explanatory. It shows you the red marks where you glue together. These tabs need to glue on there so that basically that the radio can be put on there. I've done this other box, as you can see, and you do put these other parts on, which I'm not quite sure what they're for. But either way, this radio equipment part has got some ejector pin marks. You need to take them off the back because it just fits a lot better. Again, I sped this up because all it is just scraping with a blade, and that's all you really need to do. So with the radio parts complete, now I can put this one on that I scraped the bottom of, which fits a lot better now. The other one fits in between these two brackets, as you can see there, and as I mentioned earlier, you just push them together, shouldn't be a problem. Nice application of glue, and it'll go down in there very well. Next thing to do is to put this ammo box on there, which comprises of J13, J2, J3, J4, and I actually use J17 with the no ammo in it. So while that dries in position, I can do all the 8 wheels. Yes, 8 of them. I'm not showing you all of them, I'll just show you one. So I've put the polycap in there, and then I've just put the glue in the wrong place, you plonker. So if you put the glue in the right place, as you can see there, and I apply quite a bit, to be honest with you, so that this cap actually goes down there quite securely so that polycap doesn't fall out. Obviously you're not going to see it on the back. And on the front, I just put this in and just apply a bit of glue. And I hate rubber tyres. You'll find out about that later. But either way, moving on to the steering, as you can see there, which, to be honest with you, I find a bit of a gimmick, this workable steering. It's not a toy. However, even though it's part of the build, I might as well show you how it all goes together. So you've got all these rods that all go together. It's just a push fit. You've got these massive pegs, as you can see there, where if I get my fingers out of the way, I do show you a bit better later on, and it goes in there. This one has got 2 splines, which goes into the hole, and it basically expands on the opposite side, securing it. Now you've got this peg, as I said, and it just pushes down on there like so. Self-explanatory, not a problem with that. Next thing is, why I leave all that, is some photo etched. Whee! Now, I do like these Tamiya photo etch bending pliers. I really do like them. They're snub nose ones. I'd get them if I was you. So the first time in this video, I'm going to leave you with this exciting part of bending photo etched. See you later. Right, I hope you've all come out of your coma after all that photo etched. Now, I've not talked about the gluing down the photo etch, but this one I will. Now, I've put some white tack on a cocktail stick, applied it to the photo etch, put super glue on the back, and it just gives you a lot more control of putting this said photo etch down onto the surface, as you can see there, and then a quick twist at the end, and it pulls off without actually pulling the photo etched off. Next thing is to put in this clear part on, which I ain't got a clue what it's for, but I painted over the top of it anyway. Next thing to do is to put C3 down on there, these wing nuts, and they are absolutely tiny, but like a good modeler, I put everything down on there, and as you can see, it goes down on there very nicely. Next thing is to do these jerry cans. I've not done V2 or Y6 because I don't see the point. You just use a V1. Now this photo etch sandwiches between the two halves, and I just apply super glue into the middle and then put the other side on and then jiggle the super glue around on the inside just to super glue both sides together like so. And then when that's on, I can put this hand grab on there, which fits very nicely, and then V1, which is just a straight fit, not a problem. So part of the jerry cans is these straps, and you've got a choice of plastic or PE, and I obviously chose the photo etched. So like as before, I'm going to leave you with me bending this photo etched and gluing it all together. So see you in a bit. Now, I must admit, I'm skipping around the pages because I've got things drying, but I've got these ammo crates to build. I built them but not painted them because I forgot. But anyway, so these end caps to be put on, which are D12, they're not handed, and then these side pieces, D2, D3, they're handed. So if you follow the instructions, they're going quite self-explanatory. You've got these end caps to be put on, which is D8, again, they're not handed. So that's very nice. And then you've got the top piece on there, which is D13. And pretty much there's no glue on there, and it is a snug fit. And as you can see, I've built two of them, which again, I forgot to paint. So moving swiftly on to this front bumper part, as you can see, it fits perfectly, not had to modify it whatsoever. It only comprises of 3 parts, so F16, F82 and F83. And then also another perfect fitting part is this upper grille system on the upper hull, so it fits nicely. Now, another problem that I found, it's not overly major, but this upper hull is overly warped. And when you put these two side plates on here, if you tack them in with super glue, it kind of makes everything all straight again. Not an issue. So yeah, just be wary on that one if you've got that on your kit. Now, another thing that I found is that the instructions don't explain this, but this rear plate, after I glued it in, I did some research, as we all do, and then found out that when this vehicle is fighting, this rear plate can stay open so that they've got more room to operate the gun and everything. So be wary of that. You can actually have that open, and when that's all in, it looks very nice. The other thing is that hatch for the drivers, it's got 2 ejector pin marks. You need to clean that out, and then these sights can be open or closed, and as you can see, it's just a clip fit. As you can see there, you just push it down, and then when you put it onto the upper hull, when it's in situ, all you need is a little tiny bit of glue just to secure it into position. You don't need to overly put too much glue in there, because if you do that, then you won't be able to have that hatch opened or closed. And yes, it might be a bit of a gimmick, but it does actually work. And when it's in there, you can put the outer piece on, push down and leave. So some of you may know me by now, but I like putting as many things on as I can before the paintwork, and especially the tools on the fenders here. Like you can see these 2 spades going down, and they fit very nicely. Not an issue really. I've just got to put some photo etched on later, and I think this is the crank handle. I'm not quite sure, but either way, now like I said, all these can be painted up afterwards, not a problem. Now the next thing to do is to put the exhaust system together. So these 2 parts here, not a problem, they go down very nicely, but in hindsight, this next part here I would have left off towards the end. The reason being is because the alignment is not great, and you do need to kind of break the seal again to get it on. Next thing is to put this photo etched handle on here. Now I'm only putting one on, but there's quite a few, as you're going to see in a second, and they go all the way around on the upper hull. Not an issue with them or whatsoever, they fit very nicely. And then the last of the photo etched, at least for this video anyway, is Y7x4. So again, I'm going to leave you with me bending this. Cheerio, see you in a bit. I must admit they don't look too bad, so at least it's an armour kit and I can kind of get away with saying that they look a bit battered. But at least as well that the surface of the plastic has got some guides so it can show you where to put the photo etched, which I'm trying to follow, but with the super glue being so strong, and the one that I'm using anyway, it's kind of fixed where it's going to go. But either way, it doesn't look too bad. And the last thing I'm going to leave with this video is to put one of these wing nuts on. So again, I just want to say thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.